Have you ever met someone who just seemed off? Like they could walk through a storm and not feel a drop, or tell a lie as easily as saying hello? That's the unsettling world of sociopaths and psychopaths, and it might be closer than you think. Disclaimer: this video is for educational purposes only. If you suspect a personality disorder, please seek professional help. Sociopaths and psychopaths are both types of people who have trouble following rules and understanding how others feel. They're similar, but not exactly the same. Sociopaths usually act without thinking and can be very unpredictable. They might have friends or partners, but they don't really care about them the way other people do. Psychopaths are often smooth talkers and good at tricking people. They plan their moves carefully and don't feel bad about hurting others. They find it hard to really care about anyone. What's similar about them is that they both find it tough to understand other people's feelings, and they don't feel guilty when they do something wrong. But remember, not all sociopaths or psychopaths are bad people. Many of them just live their lives like anyone else, and you wouldn't even know they have these struggles. Sociopaths and psychopaths aren't as rare as you might think. About 1% of people are psychopaths, which means they have a really hard time feeling for others and often plan things out without caring about the harm they cause. Sociopaths are a bit more common, with around 4% of people having these traits. They might act without thinking and struggle to connect with people on a deeper level. It's interesting to note that while these numbers seem small, they add up when you think about how many people are in the world. So it's likely that we all know someone or have met someone with these traits, even if we don't realize it. When we look inside the brains of sociopaths and psychopaths, we find some interesting differences. Their brains work a bit differently from most people's, especially in the parts that deal with feelings and thinking about consequences. Did you know that in a psychopath's brain, two important parts don't communicate well? Think of it like this. One part, called the VMPFC, is like the boss of feelings like caring for others and knowing right from wrong. The other part, the amygdala, deals with being scared or worried. In psychopaths, these two brain parts aren't chatting as much as they should, which might be why they don't feel sorry when they hurt someone or have a hard time getting how others feel. Sociopaths also have differences in their brains, but these might come from their life experiences, like having a tough childhood. This can affect how their brain develops, leading to some of the traits we see in sociopaths, like acting without thinking and having trouble forming deep relationships. The brains of sociopaths and psychopaths are set up in a way that makes it hard for them to feel and show emotions like most people do. This can explain some of the behaviors we associate with these disorders. Sociopaths and psychopaths have a different way of feeling emotions compared to most people. They often don't feel bad or guilty after doing something that hurts others. It's like they have a switch for certain feelings that just doesn't work. For example, if most of us told a lie, we might feel nervous or guilty, but a psychopath wouldn't feel much at all. They can be calm and collected in situations that would make others anxious. This doesn't mean they don't have any emotions. They can feel happy or angry, but the softer feelings, like regret or sadness for someone else, are often missing. Sociopaths might feel some emotions, but they're not as strong or lasting. They might get angry quickly and then forget about it just as fast. They also might not care much about hurting someone's feelings or how their actions affect others. Sociopaths and psychopaths don't go through the same emotional ups and downs that others do. They have a hard time understanding how other people feel, and they don't share the same kind of conscience that tells them when something is wrong. This can make their reactions to things quite different from what you'd expect. When we talk about sociopaths and psychopaths, people often wonder if they're born that way, or if it's something that happens because of their life experiences. This is the big question of nature versus nurture. Nature means the genetic stuff we're born with. For psychopaths, certain genes can make it more likely for them to have trouble feeling emotions or understanding right from wrong. It's like the recipe for how their brain is built makes them different. Nurture is about the environment. Things like how someone is raised, the kind of childhood they had, and what they've been through. For sociopaths, tough experiences, especially when they're young, can shape the way they act and feel. It's like their surroundings change the way their brain works. So it's a mix of both. Genes can set the stage, but what someone goes through in life can also play a big part. It's not just one or the other, it's how they work together that can lead to these personality traits. And it's important to remember that not everyone with these genes or experiences will become a sociopath or psychopath. It's complicated, and everyone's story is unique. Let's clear up some myths about sociopaths and psychopaths with the truth. Myth 1. They're the same thing. The truth is, while they share some traits, they're not the same. Sociopaths are more about the environment they grew up in, and psychopaths have more to do with how their brain is wired from the start. Myth 2. They're all violent. Not true. While some might be, many sociopaths and psychopaths live normal lives without ever being violent. Myth 3. Psychopathy is just extreme sociopathy. Actually, they're different. Psychopaths don't really get that they're being hurtful because they don't feel remorse, while sociopaths understand social rules. They just don't care much about following them. Myth 4. You can easily spot them. It's not that simple. Many of them blend in well with everyone else, and you might not notice anything unusual. Myth 5. They can't have any relationships. They can have relationships, but they might not be as deep or caring as what others have. So there you have it. Sociopaths and psychopaths are more complex than the myths suggest, and understanding the truth helps us see them in a more accurate light. In daily life, sociopaths and psychopaths walk a different path than most. Sociopaths might find it tough to keep a job or stay in a relationship because they act quickly on their feelings and can get angry fast. They might not stick to plans and can be hard to predict, which makes things like work and friendships tricky. Psychopaths, though, can seem just like anyone else. They might have a good job and a family. They're really organized and good at making people think they're just like them. But deep down, they don't really connect with others. They might use their charm to get what they want, and they don't feel bad if they trick someone in the process. Both sociopaths and psychopaths can have relationships, but they're not the warm, caring kind most people think of. They might not feel real love or care deeply about someone else's feelings. Instead, they might use relationships to get something they want, like power or control. So, when you hear about sociopaths or psychopaths, remember that their lives and relationships don't always look like what you'd expect. They navigate the world in their own way, often without the emotional ties that guide the rest of us. Sociopaths and psychopaths can actually add something unique to society, even though they face some big challenges. For example, some sociopaths might be really good at staying calm in stressful situations because they don't feel social emotions like guilt or shame as strongly as others. This can make them great in jobs that need a cool head. Psychopaths might be very charming and confident, which can help them do well in positions where they need to convince people or lead them. They know how to talk to people and get them to listen, even if they're not always doing it for the right reasons. But there are challenges too. Because they don't feel bad about breaking rules or hurting people, they can get into trouble. They might lie or cheat, and this can make it hard for them to keep friends or stay out of trouble with the law. Plus, even if they can make friends, they might not really care about them the way other people do. So, while sociopaths and psychopaths can be really good at some things, they also have to deal with problems that come from the way they see the world. It's a mix of good and bad, and it's important to remember that everyone is different. And there you have it, the stark truth laid bare. If this video opened your eyes or got you thinking, go ahead and hit that like button. It really helps out. Don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into topics that make you ponder. Got thoughts or experiences to share? Drop a comment below. We love hearing from you. And if you're curious to learn more, check out the links in the description for a treasure trove of related resources. Until next time, keep questioning and stay curious.